morning to all of you. I am Lavanya, Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce from Jamilal College. Today's topic of discussion is taxation laws and introduction. So, in this regard, we will firstly know about the definition of tax and its various types. So, moving ahead, we should know firstly what is tax. So, how can you define tax, or how can we define tax? Tax is a fee which is charged by the government on the income or value of goods produced or services rendered. Means it is a fee which is charged by the government on the personal income of the household and the value of goods produced by the industrialist or services rendered by the professional. So, it is a compulsory fee which is charged by the government. Now, the second point is, if anybody fails to pay the tax, he or she will be imposed penalties which is charged by the government, which is imposed by the government. He or she will be charged penalties imposed by the government. Hence, government charges penalties those who fails to pay the tax. Hence, it is a source of revenue. To the government. Now, moving ahead, we will know the various types of tax. Types of tax. Tax can be further divided into two parts. First type of tax is direct tax, and the next is indirect tax. So, what will be the definition of direct tax? If government charges tax on the personal income of the household or firms or institution, then it is direct tax. If government आपके पर्सनल इनकम पे जो टैक्स चार्ज करती है वो इनकम चाहे हाउस होल्ड का हो, अदरवाइज फर्म का हो और वेरियस इंस्टीट्यूशंस का हो, सभी को डायरेक्ट टैक्स में रखेंगे. नाउ द नेक्स्ट इज इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. If the government charges tax on the goods produced, if the government charges tax on the goods produced or services rendered, then this is called indirect tax. Means government जब आपके goods produced value पे, means whatever be the value of goods produced by the industrialist or services rendered by the professionals, तो प्रोफेशनल फ़ी के थ्रू जो प्रोफेशनल्स को अर्निंग होती है तो गवर्नमेंट उस पर टैक्स चार्ज करती है, तो ये सारा टैक्स इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स के कैटेगरी में रखा जाता है. नाउ वी मूव टू द एग्जाम्पल, वेरियस एग्जाम्पल ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्स एंड indirect tax. I'm going to explain in front of you the example or types of direct tax and the types of indirect tax. So I am rubbing it. Now, the types of direct tax. First type of direct tax is income tax. Second is corporation tax. Third is gift tax, and the next is wealth tax. So we will firstly know about income tax. So what is income tax here? When tax is levied on the income of an individual, then it is income tax. Means he or she, means any kind of individual, he or she cannot shift burden of tax to any other person, or he or she bears the tax imposed. मीन्स इफ किसी भी इंडिविजुअल के इनकम पर जो टैक्स लगता है उस टैक्स को हम लोग इनकम टैक्स कहते हैं और ये डायरेक्ट टैक्स का पार्ट है. और इसको कैसे हम बोल सकते हैं, डिफाइन इस अदर वे में भी कर सकते हैं कि कोई भी इंडिविजुअल अपने इस टैक्स के बर्डन को किसी थर्ड पार्टी पर शिफ्ट नहीं कर सकता है. He or she has to bear this kind of tax solely. Now the corporation tax. If tax is levied on the income of the company, then it is corporation tax. Corporation tax, it may be also called company tax or corporate tax. Now the next one is gift tax, but now it has been abolished by the government. It has been abolished by the government. Now the next is wealth tax. So I am writing down here about the wealth tax. So what is wealth tax? How we can define it? When tax is imposed on the net wealth. जब आपके नेट वेल्थ पे जो टैक्स चार्ज करती है गवर्नमेंट तो उसको वेल्थ टैक्स कहते हैं. अब मुझे समझना है या आपको ये समझना है कि ये आपके वेल्थ टैक्स में क्या क्या इंक्लूड होगा. तो क्या क्या आएगा आपके वेल्थ में. वेल्थ में आपका आएगा योर रेसिडेंशियल हाउस. नेक्स्ट आपका ज्वेलरी. नेक्स्ट एयरक्राफ्ट्स. फिर आपका कैश इन हैंड. इफ योर कैश इन हैंड एक्सीड्स 50,000 तब आपका इस कैश इन हैंड पे टैक्स लगेगा. तो आई वॉन्ट टू से इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू आपका लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग भी होगा. लैंड पे aggregate of these all, if your net bill exceeds by 30 lakhs you will have to pay 1% tax. You will have to pay wealth tax at the rate of 1%. Now coming to the example of indirect tax. Types of well, indirect tax can be categorized into four parts: excise duty, next is custom duty, next is sales tax or VAT, next is service tax. Now what is excise duty? When tax is levied on the value of good produced, then it is excise duty. But when we do international marketing, whatever government charges, whatever tax charged by the government, on the export and import of goods, then it is custom duty. Now what is sales tax? Whatever tax is applicable on the amount of value of goods sold by the seller, but it is ultimately transferred to the consumer. Means finally consumer has to bear this kind of tax. Now what is service tax? सर्विस रेंडर करने के टाइम में, जो भी सर्विस रेंडर कर रहे हैं, रेंडर करने के टाइम में आप जो फी चार्ज करते हो, तो उस प्रोफेशनल फी पे भी, ये प्रोफेशनल फी आपका अर्निंग हुआ, उस प्रोफेशनल फी पे आप क्या दोगे? गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स दोगे, वो सारा सर्विस टैक्स में होगा. बट नाउ विथ इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1st July 2017, most of the indirect tax has come under the ambit of GST, means goods and services tax. means मोस्ट ऑफ द इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को गवर्नमेंट ने एक टैक्स के अंदर रख दिया है, जिसको बोलते हैं गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स. दैट मीन्स वन कंट्री वन टैक्स. So it was all about the definition of tax.